Hi guys, I'm back. This is the afternoon session of fourth day. I'm waiting for the other participants to join. Hi Asha, good afternoon from India. Nandini, you thought it's 2 o'clock? You haven't seen the schedule? 2:30 to 4:30. So 2.5 hour break for the lunch, 2.5 hour break for the dinner. The same schedule for the residential camp also. Hi Vikrant. What are these backslash and forward slash? Asha? Tathapi, all of you had your lunch? Asha hasn't, I know. Oh, you're cleaning the keyboard. Nandini says that I have, just a second, I have seen schedule, but I was walking in the sun, so didn't see. Okay, okay. Right, I understand, Asha. I keep changing my gadgets, so Montaj is privileged to have multiple old gadgets. So she doesn't have the privilege to work on the uh, computer on which I work. But sometimes she jumps, I understand. The children you cannot stop. Sahana, Pooja, and Ranga. Who else? Tulika. They have not joined yet. Is there any reason to increase hairs and beard? I too had a beard, but it is difficult to maintain. Huh? Is it? So the reason I don't know. Reason is nature. Nature's. I don't. I don't actually grow intentionally. It's growing. I'm just intentionally not cutting these days. And maintenance, it's a like definitely it's a your perception, how you perceive it. Just because these parts of the body doesn't have sense, uh, it's better to cut it. That's kind of, I realize that that's a very limited conclusion, and it's giving me a lot of facilities, lot of facilities in terms of climate management. That's a primary purpose of hair naturally. So yes, so that's it. I think, like, I'm not just cutting, I'm not doing anything to grow it. Though I had to trim the beard sometime, because whenever I ride a bike, it was very troublesome for me to manage the beard. It used to go both the side like this, so I had to trim the beard a bit. Yeah, hi Sahana, Ranga. So all of only Pooja has not joined. Pooja, have you joined? I don't see Pooja's icon. So Pooja hasn't joined yet. So it will, yeah. So let's do the silence for 90 seconds. Yeah, hi Ranga. Okay, Nandini asks that what about nails? They need to be cut. Yeah, see, it's not a rigidity that should be cut or should not be cut. Definitely, the facility of these parts of the body is catched by nature. That senses are not there. These can be cut, but this is something inculcated habit that uh, I understand. I'll just share one experience, and it's amazing experience. Very small experience, but you will also like this observation. We were coming from Delhi to Agra by road. So in between, we stopped over in a that roadside dhaba, that small restaurant kinds of places. So there we stopped, and for a bio break kind of. Then we were just resting for some time, and Montaj and I were roaming nearby. So there one Madari, Madari, that people, those who play like kind of stunts, and with monkeys they roam around. So that kind of person we met, one with a monkey. So Montaj was very excited, so was I. So we just started playing with the monkey. Though I personally very feel bad, and Rakhi also feels bad that those animals are tied, and we don't want to show those kind of animals to Montaj. But you never have control over those situations. So we went and started interacting with the monkey, and I just watched that I noticed that the nails of the monkey is nicely groomed. It's cut well. So that struck me, and I asked that person that, do you cut the nails of the monkey? Then he answered, are you joking? Why should I cut its nail? So that made me thinking, that monkey is quite similar in structural aspect, and how this is maintained so well, and we are so much prone to cut the nails and all those stuff. So this is something human introduced aspect, I understand, but definitely you cannot stop cutting your nails right away. We also couldn't, because for many reasons we need to opt that. But definitely the frequency of cutting nails has come down. Just a thought I thought to share, since Nandini raised this point, that what about nails? So maybe we should not make it a custom that we have to cut nails, cut hairs. If it is really painful or it really problematic to manage, then we can cut. Otherwise, there are a lot of use actually of these nails and hairs. Even though these don't have the senses, these are protective covers, we can say. So yeah, good discussion. So now let's start the session, the part 3 of expansion of self. Let me switch back the so yes, the expansion of self. Okay, I get some comment from Nandini. In case of dogs, if kept at home, require nail trimming, but commonly dogs have no problem with nails. Yes, yes. So domestication of animal is a kind of superstition that we suffer from. You know, we think this is another perception. Uh, I must clarify here that we were talking about helping somebody proactively and all those things. Uh, what is that? Very interesting idea. Okay, so yeah, so I was talking about the help. Unless it is being seeked, we should not go out to help, because that would actually innervate both the parties, the being helped person and the person who is out to help. Now here in this case of domestication of animals, we actually interpret this way, that we love so much and we take care of so much, and we interpret and impose our interpretation that they are happy with our custody. So this needs a relook, because it is our interpretation that we take care of them so much. So it is good for them if we keep them with us. because it is their choice. Absolutely, it is their choice. Why we should interfere in their freedom? Absolutely, that is their freedom to stay anywhere they wish to. So here it's a food for thought since the topic is raised. Right. So we were talking about the expansion of self, and while understanding expansion of self, we understood the self image, and in understanding self image, we understood that how rational analysis reduces our thoughts and build our self image in a neutral pattern. Then we understood the growth phenomena, that the growth is a kind of eternal truth and a neutrality of the nature of the universe. Everything is growing, and while understanding the growth, we understood that how the growth can be the physical growth and the cognitive or intellectual growth. And in understanding the cognitive or intellectual growth, the empathetic projection of self image we understood. So empathetic projection of self image is seeing myself in others, seeing myself in others, and realizing the feelings or the emotions of others as my feeling or emotion. So this empathetic projection of self image is, by nature, we have that program within us. That examples of relating with the offspring or the parents is a proof of that programmatic empathetic projection capability. Now, while understanding this, we also understood the concept of collectivism and individualism on the way. The individualism is identifying that the individuals have unique philosophy. The development of the philosophy in each individual is uniquely developed, and if we consider that that a group can have a common philosophy, it is our misunderstanding and misinterpretation, because in reality it can't be possible. A group cannot have the same philosophy. The ingredient of the groups, the individuals, will have their unique entities of the philosophy. So if we consider that the individual will have the same philosophy of a group, it is completely misinterpretation and wrong consideration also. I get some question, animals are certainly happier outdoors and free from human bondage. Yes, Nandini, we were talking about that. Now, now while understanding this collectivism versus individualism, we may get confused with self-centeredness as a quality of individualism, but that is not the case. The individualism is never a self-centered approach. It is rather diverged to the connectedness approach. So the law of unity is nothing but the sense of connectedness, and the voice of the organism is nothing but individualism. So we need to identify these two philosophical concepts of individualism and connectedness to understand nature cure at the core. Up to here we proceeded in the previous session. Okay, Nandini says that, so when I want to help someone, I see myself in that person's helplessness, irrespective of his asking for help. Yes, so I was actually talking about this interpretation. This asking is very much important, because because when we project ourselves in other situation, then we try to interpret the situation under the lenses of our past experience and understanding altogether. It is not the individual who we are perceiving, his or her understanding is on the play. So that is why I was emphasizing that the explicit asking is very much needed, because unless it is explicit asking, it could be an assumption. So this is very important in terms of that intention to help. Intention to help and readiness to help is a great thing, but actual helping should be coupled with the seeking of help. Without that, the helping cannot help both the parties. It may end up enervating the person who is being helped and the person who is helping. Right. Now, this is somewhat connected issue. That's why I spent time on that. Now, the part 3 comes, the strategy. The strategy of expansion of self. The strategy of expansion of self. I think Pooja has joined. I see 8 people. Pooja, have you joined? We're just starting anyway. Yeah, I see Pooja's icon now. So, now the part 3 is the strategy, and this is the right time Pooja arrived, because we are just starting. We just revised the previous portion of expansion of self. Now this is the exact strategy that we need to understand to expand ourselves, and that would have a great impact on understanding the unison and also understanding the rational emotive behavioral therapy approach. I repeat, understanding the unison and understanding the rational emotive behavioral therapy approach, because the rational behavioral therapy approach, rational emotive behavioral therapy approach is an approach of voice of the organism kind of. It is an analytical approach. It is a formed approach. But the unison is a formless understanding, formless realization. So in this exercise, we will experience both the things, the analysis and a kind of experience of going beyond the form. Right? Let's start it. So it has 4 steps. The first step is called I am you. The first step is called I am you, which is very much understandable because we were talking about the empathetic projection of self, which means that we actually transport ourselves mentally in the position of others. We transport ourselves mentally in the position of other, where we try to understand the emotion or the feelings and the experience of others under the lenses of our understanding. So this is a kind of writing an autobiography on behalf of somebody. So if you are watching somebody, if you are noticing somebody, if you are noticing somebody's exact emotion, then try to fit yourself in that person's shoes and try to explain and justify that particular emotion that you are observing. And that emotion could be a good emotion or a bad emotion. That emotion could be a good emotion or bad emotion. So you see a reaction of that person and just try to justify that reaction as if it is your own. So it could be very evil action, it could be very good action, it could be anything. Just try to justify that. Just try to prove in your mind that this is the right thing I am doing, because that's the fact. Anybody does anything, they have their set of justification for that. They have their set of justification behind that action. So you need to find out that particular emotion, staying in their position, thinking that you are that person, and you need to arrive at that kind of mental state to justify that action. Right? So this is theoretically a single action. This is a single exercise. These kind of exercises you have to do multiple of time, at least 20 to 50. I recommend around 50 exercises you have to do for going to the next step. for going to the next step. So the first step is I am you, where you consider somebody else as you, and one of the action you pick up and you try to justify that action under the lenses of you analyzing the background of the person, analyzing the current state of the person. All these analysis you need to work behind that kind of understanding of or the justification of that action, right? And this kind of exercise can be done watching a movie also. So it's not necessary that you need to just go out and pick a person and do this exercise. Just you pick up a movie which you have watched already, and just see yourself as hero sometime, as heroine sometime, as villain sometime. Like this 50 odd exercises you have to do in your mind, right? Is that clear? The step 1, Y means yes, N means no. I'm waiting for your response, right? Anybody needs any clarification or repeat of the explanation? I'm getting wise. Right, right. Great, guys. So I'll proceed with the next step. So the first step is I am you, and can you please end with an example? Okay. So this example could be like this, that somebody is in front of you. You saw somebody is dancing. Somebody is dancing, and you have not noticed, or you have not go deep to explore the reason of that dance, because that reaction of dancing has got some emotion behind, for sure, right? So okay, you are saying that after all the steps are explained, right? So let's go on the way also. So you watched or you noticed, you saw a person dancing, then you start noticing that dance, and you start mentally transporting yourself in that particular person's place and try to understand the emotion behind that dance. So for that you need to observe keenly that person, and you need to actually try and understand the background of that person, and maybe the current state of the person. So all this keen observation will give you an idea behind that particular emotion, and that analysis may not be the actual fact. This is kind of your mental exercise, which may be the actual fact also. So both the cases are possible, but you end up doing a mental exercise of emotion building up. You end up doing a mental exercise of emotion building up, right? So this is very easy exercise per se. So pick up any kind of activity or behavioral pattern or specific action rather, and then background emotion, and analyze that, right? So now the next is I am somebody else. I am somebody else. So first one was I am you, and now you are me. I am somebody else. So why the you is not used here? Because this has to be done for multiple people. For multiple people, and I'll explain how this can be done. I have a favorite movie, Jab We Met. Jab We Met is an Indian movie. If you have watched, I don't know, but I'll just give you one example of this I am somebody else example. Mm, in that movie, uh, the protagonist, the male protagonist, was initially a depressed person, and the female protagonist, whose name is Geet there, so she was a bubbly girl, and they met in a in an like suddenly coincidentally they met in a train, and they just started interacting with each other. Then the situations evolved such a way that they had to spend some good amount of time together for some time. Then what happened, this guy who was depressed because of some personal issues, he was perceiving the life very negatively. And on the other hand, this girl who was in deep trouble many a time, but he was so agile towards life, and her perception towards life was something else. Then they got part. Now, after a long time, when they again met, the thing was reversed. The girl was depressed out of certain situations of her life, and the boy was very much energetic and looking the life in a great manner. So then this boy came to help that girl and saying that I'll take you out from this kind of situation. Then as a reaction, that girl said that I don't want your kindness. I don't want your kindness. Then this boy said that uh, are you saying that I am showing kindness to you? You don't know what you did for me. You don't know what you did for me. So this girl was really surprised to hear that why, what did I do for you? So then he explained that, Geet, whenever after meeting you, after our first meeting, when I saw your lifestyle, your perception, I got really changed, and that helped me a lot in pursuing my life in a better manner. And whenever there is to be any difficult situation, I used to close my eyes and I used to think, in my place, if Geet would have been there, what she would have been doing. If in my place Geet would have been there, what she would have been doing. And I end up doing the same thing what I see you doing in my place. And I find a solution every time. I'm getting goosebumps sharing this amazing exercise, and which is nothing but I am somebody else. So you need to, in your situation, you need to exercise this after the step 1, the step 2, that you are somebody else. You are somebody else, and by now we understand that people react differently to the same situation. People react differently to the same situation, and you need to find out that what reaction could have been there in this same situation of mine of Mr. X, Miss Y, and these kind of 20 to 50 exercises you have to do. So step 2 is the exercise of imagining somebody in your place and finding out the reaction, the emotional reaction of that person under the situation that you are experiencing. This is a mental exercise, and it has to be exercised after the step 1, after you exhale the step 1. This is an amazing journey. If you can perform these steps one by one after another, for substantial number of practices, then you will see the magic and the magic of REBT as well. Now after step 2, now step 2 is understood, why for yes and for no. Y for yes, N for no. I am somebody else. I am somebody else. Right, Ranga? Asha asks that what is the difference between 1 and 2? In 1, you are actually the situations are different and emotional conclusions are different. You are exercising the same person in different situation, and in second you are exercising different person in the same situation. So in the first exercise you are doing, okay, in both steps you are imagining you are not yourself but someone else. But here the point is not the individual but the reactions and the emotions. So you are what you are doing, your own set of background, with your own set of background you are actually putting yourself in that situation and developing some emotions. So you are putting yourself in different situations, that is the step 1, and trying to understand the emotions, the different kinds of emotion, how it is evolving in different set of situations. Just focus on that different set of situation. Now in the step 2 you are picking up a single situation of yours and you are bringing multiple people and their respective reactions to the single situation. Right? Okay, how many Y's I got? Right, Asha, I'm not sure Asha if understood it. I can repeat the exercise once again. So let me complete the chain, then I'll come back and repeat the exercise once again. Right. The third is, now third is very interesting. Third is non-living. Third is non-living object, and you need to transport yourself in that non-living object. And now, okay, Tulika, please contemplate and come out with your doubt. So the step 3 is you need to exercise the same thing of the step 1 on the non-living object, which is not organism. So it is actually the first step could be on the other organisms other than the human being also. So the third step is everything is me, so that includes the non-living objects also. So for example, the laptop in front of you, so you can opt to imagine the laptop is you. Step 3 does not apply to trees. It applies. So the extreme example that I am giving here is on the non-living, because non-living is known. Even trees also, there are researches on the emotions of the trees, but we consider that trees are not having emotions kind of thing. So non-living definitely do not have emotions. That is clear-cut understanding that we have. So so here actually, here in the step 3 what we will do is, so I was talking about that non-living object in front of you is your laptop, and you consider yourself as laptop. Then you need to think this way, that I am being used by this person, which is you, and I am helping this person a lot for exploring information through me, and I see him using me in the in any time, and though my some keys, the mainly the space bar, is being hit by him or her repeatedly, it pains me a lot. I wish I could communicate to him or her that please don't hit my space bar that hard. It may break down and it will pain me further. So and now I had to be rebooted last time repeatedly, and she sent me to some factory or kind of service center, and there they treated me very negatively. I wish I should not be sent there. I'll not I'll henceforth I'll try to behave properly so that this person doesn't need me need to send me some to some service center, and this way you can just start creating, you know. So this is kind of autobiography of anything. This is a kind of autobiography of anything, but who is doing it? Yourself. So your background, your understanding will play a role here, like in the step 1, right? So in all these 3 steps, now just pay attention in this understanding. In the first step, you created some justification for emotions which are not yours, but you justified it, right? That was the number 1. In number 2, you again broke the justification of your emotion under the lenses of others. So in first case you have justified, and second case you have unjustified, and in third case you have created some emotions where normally we understand that there are no emotions. So in all the cases, with what you are playing is the emotion. While doing this exercise, you will realize that these emotions which we consider so strong are nothing but creations, of mind, and that can be easily justified, easily unjustified, easily created. So the emotions, so slowly and gradually you will get that realization that the emotions are not that important in our life as we consider to be. So in the first case, you have justified few emotions which you were not doing so far, and in second cases you have unjustified your own emotions under the lenses of others, and in third case you are actually creating lot of emotions. So in these 3 exercises, when you excel, when you repeatedly do, that time you will end up understanding the 4th step. I am the observer. I am nobody. I am not driven by the emotions. I am not driven by the emotions. I am in neutral state. So that time you have to be acting as an observer of all the incidences, where you will not be relating yourself with the emotions but the situation as a whole holistically. So you started with analysis. Now in step 4 you are actually emerging to the whole with that understanding that emotions are created instances, and these created instances cannot be life. It can just create some impulse in me in the situation, but after realizing that these are just wastage of time most of the time, and wastage of vitality at the top of it. So the emotion driven vitality expenses will be lessening. So in the process, in the process of 1, 2, 3, 4, you will be having lot of turbulences in just justification and unjustification. You will be experiencing that. But with repeated practice, because this is completely mental activity, mental practice, with the repeated practice, you will find a calmness within you. You will find a calmness within you, and that calmness is the proof that you achieved the expansion. You achieved the expansion, because now onwards you will be effortlessly transporting yourself to anybody else. Effortlessly you will be able to transport yourself to anybody and anything. You will be able to see yourself, and there will not be any difference in the existence of others and yours in that expanded you. The new you is an expanded you. So this is what the expansion of self, and this is what merging analytically towards the unison. So we started with analysis, and we bring a flexibility, and we emerge to an expanded you, expanded self. So this is the beauty of starting with the reasons, then developing a flexibility, then emerging. The emergence out of the blue doesn't hold water. If you cannot form a strategy and explain the emergence, then it is a superstition. Emergence has to go in the same route of rationality for which we are programmed, and by nature we are programmed to ask question, to analyze. The reasoning capability is ingrained into us. Just look at a child. Look at a child, how many questions the child asks. What happens to the adults? After growing up, we are actually reluctant to ask questions because of the suppression, because of the repeated knowing, unknowing suppression to the questions. We forgot to encourage the questioning. We forgot to encourage the thinking. We forgot to encourage the analytical thinking. And then the suffering is the vacuum. Suffering is the wellness problem, because we fake the unison without going through the union and drifting to the unison. That galloping, that skipping actually is creating the wellness problem. Any wellness problem, as it is understood by now, that any wellness problem is nothing but toxemia. Now, any wellness problem, you pick up any wellness problem, that can be specifically analyzed and can be explained that it is a problem or union problem or a unison problem. So we need to, the moment we realize that we need to actually go through all the phases, the moment we realize this, from that moment your journey starts. From that moment your journey starts. It is not that you have to go back in the history, in the past, and which is not possible. You cannot go back to the past and change your past. So the moment you wake up, and from that moment you start correcting all the phases. You start correcting your understanding of food density, correct the density. Along with that, correct the activities, including your sexual understanding, including your transporting capability, which is ingrained into you to your own child. And with that, you will be drifting to the unison as an emergence. So unison cannot be imposed. It should be emerged, but emerged strategically without galloping. With that, I conclude the theory portion. Now we'll be taking up the questions, and also we'll be trying to revise what we have understood in very first few days, 2 days primarily, that nature cure concepts of the basic concepts of Nature Cure. We'll revise it with some kind of action plans. Right now, we can go for some break if you want. Now it is 3:20 almost. Yeah, 3:20. So we can go for a break for 10 minutes, max 10 minutes. Before 10 minutes only we'll launch the session, and we'll take up the questions, and we'll start revision for the next 1 hour. Right? Thank you.